Sometimes on TV, there are scenes that aren't meant to be funny, but totally are. Or scenes that are meant to be awkward, but that just go above and beyond. If you want to tense up your entire body from secondhand embarrassment, here are the most uncomfortable TV scenes ever. Even though Friends ended its 10-season run in 2004, the sitcom had already cemented itself as one of the most iconic and hilarious shows in TV history. Jokes from the series are still repeated to this day, and the actors behind the characters are still friends in real life, which makes it all that much more real. So when longtime friends Phoebe and Chandler kiss in the Season 5 episode, the one where everybody finds out, things get seriously uncomfortable.
I'm gonna kiss you now.
Not if I kiss you first.
In the episode, Rachel, Joey, and Phoebe have all discovered that Monica and Chandler are hooking up in secret. But because Monica and Chandler won't admit to it, the others try to force them into a confession by having Phoebe seduce Chandler. It all comes to a head when, in an attempt to get each other to crack, the pair end up sharing the most awkward kiss in television history. It was forced, shaky, and seriously hard to watch, compounded by the fact that the two had such a solid friendship and absolutely no sexual tension. The US version of The Office cemented Steve Carell's position in the Comedy Hall of Fame with his hilarious and cringe-worthy performance as Michael Scott, especially in Season 6's Scott's Tots. The episode centers on Scott's promise from a decade prior to provide free college tuition to a group of third graders. As he is soon reminded, 10 years have gone by, but Scott is nowhere near as rich as he assumed he would be. He must then confess to the students, who are all about to graduate high school. Assuming they'll be heading to college for free, the class praises Scott and hails him as a hero. The teens even perform a song for him.
Hey, Mr. Scott, what you gonna do? What you gonna do to make our dreams come true?
All the while, Scott knows he cannot, in fact, make their dreams come true. He eventually breaks the news, and it's every bit as hard to watch as you would imagine. In fact, Scott's Tots has such a reputation for being awkward that psychologists have unpacked the episode, as Bustle reported, and acknowledged that its intense discomfort makes some people skip it entirely. Yikes. Sex in the City might be outdated in some ways, but it remains pretty relatable, especially when it comes to relationships. And though Carrie Bradshaw might have had plenty of memorable relationship hijinks and uncomfortable moments, nothing beats the scene where she hurts someone in more ways than one. The Season 3 episode Running with Scissors sees Carrie get herself into a real pickle when her affair with Big is revealed to the last person you would want such a thing revealed to, his wife. When Natasha catches Carrie trying to sneak out of their apartment, she chases after her, only to wind up tripping down the stairs and getting seriously injured.
I had always assumed the one who would be hurt in all this would be me.
Carrie's forced to bring her to the hospital and end things with Big. It was seriously uncomfortable, especially because it showed just how deeply flawed of a character Carrie was. It's no secret that Gossip Girl was known for being a pretty controversial series. From affairs to overdoses to royal scandals, the show had everything going for it. But when Dan and Blair, who were polar opposites, got together, it was seriously cringeworthy. Not only was the coupling completely awkward and poorly written, but one scene in particular made it clear that Blair and Dan had no chemistry. When Dan and Blair share their first kiss in Season 4, there is no spark. It feels like two friends who were dared to lock lips, and it's hard to watch. Really, the only thing Blair and Dan had in common was that they were both pretentious. In fact, they literally had their coming out as a couple with a fancy, unentertaining salon party, which just further proved that the two were so not meant to be.
We are not done here.
Yeah, we are.
At the end of the day, the pair appeared as though they were only together to prove some kind of point, which they failed at, miserably. Part of the charm of the ABC Family series Greek was that the main character Rusty Cartwright was seriously dorky and awkward. In fact, the premise relies a lot on Rusty's nerd identity merging with his fraternity brothers and all the chaos that ensues. But still, nothing could quite prepare viewers for the full-body cringe fest that occurred when Rusty tried to ask out a girl at Comic-Con. Rusty didn't even know the girl's last name, but almost immediately he started talking about the future of their relationship, meeting friends and family, and the possibility of starting a life together.
Well, that was weird, wasn't it?
Yeah. Sort of.
He mumbled through the conversation, and it wound up being one of the hardest to watch scenes in the show. For a series that included a literal underwear fun run, that's saying something. Oh, Riverdale. The CW series adapted from the iconic Archie comics has so much going for it. Stellar actors playing both teens and parents on the show, death, cults, mobs. There truly is never a dull moment on the series, and that's kind of what makes it so ridiculous. The plot points on the show rarely make sense, yet people continue to watch it. Case in point, when young Archie is put in jail for a crime he didn't commit, his girlfriend Veronica gathers the entire cheer squad to come perform a song for him and his fellow inmates. Really, but what makes the whole thing really uncomfortable? They sing and dance to Jailhouse Rock at a literal jail. It's seriously weird, was completely unnecessary, and just helped make the series even more laughable than it already was. Archie was spending most of his time in jail getting beat up, and Veronica thought singing him a song would make it better?
I so wish I could be there, cheering you on to victory.
Me too. And if ever there were a group of guys who needed a pep rally.
This scene was truly the epitome of secondhand embarrassment in Riverdale, that's for sure. Amy Poehler truly made her mark starring as Leslie Knope in Parks and Recreation. Leslie was an overachiever and a government fanatic who never gave up. But in the Season 2 episode Sister City, viewers saw Leslie arrange a visit from the Parks Department officials in Pawnee's sister city, Baragua, Venezuela, and it was a total cringe fest. Like all Parks and Recreation episodes, there is plenty of laughter, but due to the Venezuelan officials' blatant disgust for Pawnee, it's also pretty awkward. Perhaps no scene was quite as uncomfortable as when Leslie is driving the 3 Venezuelan officials to their hotel. Jammed together in the back seat of Leslie's car, the officials make it clear that they aren't happy there in Pawnee. Raul even tells Leslie he has much more comfort in Venezuela, including 14,000 television channels.
I already know who wins Project Runway.
Wow, I'm coming over to your house then.
I see what you're getting at, but no thank you. I'm still primarily interested in the large black woman.
The large black woman, otherwise known as Donna. Yep, it's about as awkward as you can get. The early 2000s sitcom Reba was truly a hilarious series. The show didn't nearly get as much recognition as other sitcoms of the same time, but country music star Reba McEntire really shone on the series. The show focused on Reba, a single mom who, as the theme song states, works too hard, along with her 3 kids. Reba's oldest daughter, Cheyenne, gets pregnant and married all in the first episode. Cheyenne's husband, Van, quickly becomes a staple of the show, and one Season 4 episode captured just how awkward he was. At the beginning of the episode, Van comes home from a night out with his friends and is clearly intoxicated. He quickly strips down and jumps into bed, expecting to get a little lovin' from his wife.
You can keep celebrating if you want to.
I have a headache.
Unfortunately, Van was so drunk that he went into the wrong bedroom and inadvertently jumped into bed with his mother-in-law, Reba. It may have been an uncomfortable moment for Reba and Van, who were practically mother and son, but Van's embarrassment definitely made the moment hilarious to watch. Even though How I Met Your Mother was full of practical jokes, long-winded stories, and plenty of misadventures, it wasn't until the series started winding down towards its second half that the stakes got really high, and the moments got really awkward. In the Season 7 episode The Broth, Barney's friends, distrustful of his new girlfriend Quinn, stage an intervention that leads to the couple's breakup. In order to get back at them, Barney has the group take a bro oath, or a broth, promising never to interfere in his personal life again. As part of their broth, Robin and Lily are forced to lock lips, and things get weird when Lily is way more into the smooch than Robin is. But then Barney turns to Ted and Marshall, presumably to ask them to do the same. Though they initially refuse, the pair soon give in, resulting in one of the most uncomfortable to watch moments on the series.
I was going to say, and now the gentlemen bump fists. How long you been holding back that one?
Turns out, the whole thing was part of an elaborate plan hatched by Barney and Quinn to mess with the gang in the most legend, wait for it, dairy way. The Canadian original series Workin' Moms knows how to get at the heart of big issues while also making you crack up all in the same scene. Because the show tackles big issues like breastfeeding, sexuality, and the hard choices mothers have to make every day, there are some scenes that are just plain awkward. And the scene in which Kate's life is changed is one of those moments.
You good? Yeah.
In the season 2 finale Look Back, Kate is enjoying herself at Anne and Lionel's commitment ceremony. But soon, she stumbles upon Anne's nanny, referred to in the show as Mean Nanny, kissing her husband in a manner that made it clear it wasn't their first romantic encounter. It was a heartbreaking moment, and not only was it sad to watch, but it was uncomfortable to see Mean Nanny and Nathan so intimate. After all, their affair was unforeseen by just about everyone, so to see it in action was quite startling. As much of a musically focused show as Glee was, there was also plenty of drama and comedic moments. However, one of those comedic moments was more awkward than it was silly, and it had viewers questioning whether or not the show had crossed some kind of line.
Our hormones are driving us too crazy to abstain.
Sure, the singing was great, but what set this scene apart was the message behind the song they chose, and the dance moves. In Season 1, members of the Glee Club performed their version of Push It, and they definitely pushed it. The song was more than just cringe-worthy, as it gave anyone who was watching it the worst kind of goosebumps. The awkward teenagers trying to be sexy, the hideous outfits, and the strange facial expressions all served to make this scene one of Glee's worst and most uncomfortable scenes. The show may have done a lot of questionable music performances, but Push It will go down in history as its most embarrassing. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more list videos about your favorite things are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.